The fishing village of Havnsted smelled of rot even on good days. But on the morning Eirik Thorvaldsen found the first body on the shore, the smell was different. Not decay, not dead fish, something sweet, almost caramel-like. And that sweetness made you want to retch. The body belongs to Magnus Juel, the village's best diver. Eirik had known him for 20 years. He stood over him and couldn't bring himself to look at the face. Because Magnus's mouth was open to its absolute limit, his lower jaw nearly touching his collarbones, like a snake that had swallowed something beyond its means. From inside, from the throat, small white crystals protruded. Eirik first thought salt. Then he realized they were teeth. Dozens of tiny, sharp teeth grown into the mucous membrane of Magnus's esophagus from within. He called the police from Børstad. They arrived 3 hours later. By then, the body had vanished. Constable Astrid Hagen recorded Eirik's statement with the expression of someone who desperately wanted to go home. Young, short blonde hair, tired eyes. She had clearly been expecting a missing fishing boat, not stories about teeth growing inside throats. "Had you been drinking this morning, Mr. Thorvaldsen?" "No." "I see." She closed her notebook. "We'll check the shore. If the body turns up, we'll be in touch." The body didn't turn up. But that night, Linda Cohen went missing, a young ornithologist from Stockholm University who had come to study seabirds. In the morning, her tent was found untouched. The sleeping bag unzipped from the inside. On the floor, a handful of white crystals. Astrid returned to Havnsted with her partner, a sullen sergeant named Per Bakke. They questioned the fishermen while Eirik sat in the tavern called the Broken Anchor, drinking coffee that had long gone cold, staring out the window at the bay. The water in the bay was perfectly still, too still for a windy October. Old Willem, the local drunk and, by coincidence, the oldest resident of the village, sat down beside Eirik uninvited. "You saw the drekking," he said without preamble. "What?" "The drekking." Willem wrapped both hands around his mug. "My grandfather told me, his grandfather too. It comes from the deep every 70 years when the October water stands like glass. It doesn't hunt with its body, it hunts with its mouth." "Willem, you're drunk." "It swims into a person," the old man continued, not listening. "Through the mouth while you sleep. Small at first, the size of an eel. It crawls inside and grows. It feeds on you from within. And when it's grown large enough, it comes back out." He paused. "The teeth you saw, those aren't its teeth. Those are the person's bones, reshaped to suit it." Eirik stared at him. 70 years ago, Willem said quietly, 14 people disappeared. Then it went back. It leaves when it's full. He raised his eyes, and in those faded irises there was no drunken haze, only fear. Old fear, aged like vinegar. "There are 18 of us here, Eirik, plus 2 police officers. That'll be enough for it." That night, Eirik didn't sleep. He sat with a knife at the kitchen table and listened. Outside, the sea murmured, or whatever was pretending to be the sea. At some point, it seemed to him that the sound of the surf had become rhythmic, almost respiratory, as though enormous lungs beneath the water were drawing long, slow breaths. At 3 a.m, the neighbor's dog barked, once, briefly, and was silent forever. In the morning, they found Sergeant Per Bakke, or rather, they found what remained, an empty uniform on the shore. The clothes were intact, buttoned up, shoes laced. Inside, nothing. No bones, no blood. The uniform lay holding the shape of a body, like a shed skin. Astrid stared at it for a long time without speaking. "We need to leave," said Eirik. "I can't just abandon. We need to leave." She called the station. The signal came and went. the dispatcher's voice distant and indifferent. She requested backup. They promised someone by evening. By evening, the road out of Havnsted was flooded. Not badly, ankle deep, but Astrid's car stalled halfway out. And when they stepped out, the water around them was the same motionless glass. And beneath it, in the beam of the headlights, something moved. Long, slow, undulating. They ran back. Willem died around midnight. Eirik could hear him through the tavern wall, where 6 of them had barricaded themselves. Eirik, Astrid, and 4 fishermen. The old man rasped, then went quiet, then began making sounds again, but different ones. Wet sounds, like someone gargling boiling water. "Don't open it," said Eirik. No one opened it. The night dragged on. Eirik dozed off in an armchair around 4 and dreamed of the sea. He was standing waist deep in water, and the water was warm, almost hot. And from below, something was touching his legs, gently, like seaweed, but with intention. He woke to a scream. A fisherman named Sven was screaming in the corner, clutching his throat. His face was changing color rapidly, red, crimson, a shade of blue. He opened his mouth, and everyone could see something moving in the darkness of it. White, sharp, numerous. Astrid shot him in the head before Eirik could stop her. She lowered her weapon. Her hands weren't shaking. That was the most frightening thing of all. "It was already inside him," she said evenly. "It used him to get closer to us." "You don't know that." "I do." She looked at him. "I can feel it. Here." She pressed her hand to her abdomen. "Eirik, I woke up an hour ago feeling cold on the inside. I thought I was just freezing, but it was movement." Silence. "Run," she said. "All of you, run. Go over the cliffs, not the road. You might make it before dawn." "Astrid, run." Eirik ran. He ran across the rocks in total darkness, stumbling, falling, tearing his palms open on the stone. 3 fishermen pounded along behind him. Back in the village, a single gunshot rang out, then silence. They reached the highway, flagged down a truck. The driver looked at them, bloodied, breathless, wild-eyed, and let them in anyway. Eirik sat in the passenger seat and watched in the mirror as Havnsted fell away behind them. Something glowed beneath the surface of the bay, a pale blue, steady light, pulsing slowly, contentedly, like the heartbeat of a large animal after a meal. He felt it in Bergen 6 hours later, a slight, almost gentle movement somewhere beneath his diaphragm, as though a fin had brushed him from the inside. He sat in the police station giving a statement, and he could feel it, small still, patient, settling in. It was in no hurry. It knew he wasn't going anywhere. Eirik stopped in the middle of a sentence. The detective asked him something. Eirik opened his mouth to answer and felt along the walls of his throat, moving slowly upward from below, small sharp points, like needles, like teeth that were only just beginning to grow, and understood that there was no longer any point in screaming.